Also, tactical considerations are taken advantage of. If there is an order, for instance, by an assailant to a victim, put up your hands, that assailant is expecting movement from the hands. And that would be the time to make the defense. You will see a number of situations where we take advantage tactically of the scenario that the assailant has laid out for us. But remember, always make the least detectable movement in the shortest distance possible to the weapon, create the earliest defense possible with movement, and also remove the line of fire from your target area, from you, in the shortest line off the body. In looking at the frame of the gun on a revolver, we note that the barrel extends beyond the cylinder. The cylinder basically houses the rounds of ammunition. The casings and the projectiles are contained within each hole in the cylinder. And as the trigger is pulled on the weapon itself, the cylinder will rotate and place a fresh shell in front of the hammer of the gun. The hammer of the gun is what I'm pulling back on right now with my thumb. As the hammer falls, it hits the round, which causes an explosion, which propels the round down the barrel in a spinning type of action and through the air. What needs to happen for the gun to fire again is for this cylinder part to rotate, to put a fresh round in front of the hammer. Generally speaking, if we are grabbing the frame of the gun as part of our defense, some portion of our hand is likely to be grabbing the cylinder, which prevents the cylinder from rotating and thus prevents another round from being placed in front of the hammer and firing. Now, although this is not what we count on by any means for a defense, this does occur, and we need to understand that. Do we still treat the gun, once we've made the defense, even if we're grabbing the cylinder, as if it could be fired? Absolutely. But it's important to understand the mechanics of the gun that we're dealing with. Let's now talk about a semi-automatic weapon. In this position, we deal with the semi-automatic weapon. From here, it is a flatter gun. Revolvers are often referred to as a wheel gun because of the cylinder. A semi-automatic gun is often referred to as a flat gun. And what's the distinction? Is that there is a space for a magazine. That magazine is loaded with rounds of ammunition. That magazine is placed up into the grip or handle of the gun, and there is a slide at the top of the weapon that can be activated. That activation takes the first round at the top of the magazine and places it ready to be fired in front of the hammer of the weapon. In this situation, if we grab the slide area of the gun in a defensive motion, if we grab the slide area of the gun in a defensive motion, the slide will not be able to cycle another round because the slide will be restricted in movement, which will prevent it from cycling another round to be fired. Now, in discussing the two types of weapons, generally, the semi-automatic handgun and the revolver, we have shown you real weapons. We do not use real weapons in the training. A number of accidents occur every year, people training with real guns and gun disarming techniques, resulting in death or serious bodily injury to the participants. Even on a law enforcement level, accidents occur. We do not train in gun disarming techniques with live weapons. What we do, however, is we work with a safety gun that is realistic in every respect to a real gun. This is the ASP Red Gun. This manufacturers weapons in all different shapes and sizes for just about every weapon, according to the specifications of the gun, according to the weight of the gun. It feels real, and it is not, of course, capable of being fired. This is a safe, realistic weapon, and this is the weapon that should be used for gun disarming training. To be absolutely clear, never use real guns for training purposes. Even if you feel that the gun is unloaded We stay away from real guns. We use safety training guns. The ASP red gun is what should be used for absolutely safe training. In this next scenario, dealing with an armed assailant, we're going to deal with a gunman that approaches the victim from the front. This is common because in many street crimes, such as an armed robbery or an assault that arises out of some type of an argument, the attacker approaches the victim from the front to give orders or demands or to intimidate the victim. Remember, the gun can be presented at varying distances and at varying heights. In this view, we examine the stages of the exercise. In the first stage, Marnie is redirecting the line of fire while making a body defense. It's extremely important to note that this first defense is led by the hand. The hand defense leads the body defense. In addition, while speed, of course, is a very important element in any type of defense or attack, it is very important that this movement be highly undetectable. The less detectable the movement is, the less likely the gun will be fired in your direction or moved from your ability to defend against it. This next view depicts the gun being presented to the center of Marnie's chest. Marnie's left hand is coming in the shortest possible line to the gun. She's redirecting the line of fire. Notice how her right shoulder leaves the target area, completing the body defense. The redirection occurs by the hand coming to the side of the gun and taking the gun off parallel to the ground. The gun is caught and taken down so that the gunman will not be able to pull back on the gun, returning the line of fire to the defender. In addition, because the weight is on the gun is restricted in movement, so the line of fire cannot be turned back on us. Marnie can make attacks with her weight both on the gun and in her punch. From this position, her hand slides along her body, remaining out of the line of fire, to the hammer portion of the gun. A sharp leverage is created on the gun, and the gun is removed from the trigger finger at a 90-degree angle. Marnie can leave the scene once she secures the firearm. We'll examine and break down the various portions of this defense, dealing with the gunman from the front, for teaching purposes. First, Marnie is going to raise her left hand to redirect the line of fire. Notice the positioning of her hand with the thumb down. This will allow the gun to go off in a straight line. Marnie's hand will approach the gun from the side of the gun. This is to ensure that the gun is not raised or lowered in a diagonal line, which would be longer along her body. The longer the line is, the line of redirection, the longer the gun will remain on the defender. It's important to take the gun off in the shortest distance possible. Also note that Marnie is making the most direct line to the gun. There's no swinging of her arm. There's no leaning in her body that precedes or telegraphs the defensive movement. The next stage is Marnie making the defense and grabbing the gun and straightening her arm. Her body defense is complete. Her right hand is up and ready to punch. At this point in time, the third stage occurs. After grabbing the gun and redirecting it, Marnie steps and enters with her weight on the gun. Marnie steps beyond